Hey, fearless gamers, this is the Wild Card, and I'm joined by
the Starklord.
And that's it. It's just a duo here on the podcast this week. So, how's everybody doing?
Oh god, sorry. I hit a button with sound.
You hit a button with sound, ladies and gentlemen.
I did. That was very specific. I hope everyone's doing great.
Yeah. We obviously can't hear how you guys are doing, so put it in the comments.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see.
I think this is a special podcast. The last time was the first time all four of us did it, and this is the first time that Matt isn't here.
Yes, this is the first time he's not with us. Well,
which means this might be terrible.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, duh. But anyways, so I got a question. I'm gonna pose it to the audience, but I guess you can answer it too, and I'll answer it.
Yeah, might as well.
Now, fantasy and sci-fi. Let's first look at them as two mutually exclusive things and pretend sci-fantasy doesn't exist.
I can do that.
What, ladies and gentlemen, is your favorite genre? If you were picking something, what would you want it to be, in a fantasy setting or a sci-fi setting? Since I posed the question, I'll answer it first. My personal choice, I feel, over everything is sci-fi. Because sci-fi and fantasy doesn't mean far future and far flung in the past. You could have modern fantasy and modern sci-fi. It's just the genre of that type of what is encompassed in it, in my opinion, and I prefer sci-fi. So, what about you, Starklord?
As usual, I never have a good answer. It's just a bunch of complicated rambling. It comes down to a lot of things. For reading, I really prefer science fiction because of what it represents. Science fiction, if you really want to... I differentiate the two. In fantasy, it's escapism, and it's more allegorical. It's about, seeing a cool world and seeing very true black and white, good and evil kind of stuff. And science fiction is more satirical in origin. It's more about the possibilities of humanity, both good and bad. It's more about the gray areas, and I enjoy that more. Also, explosions and lasers are cool. Of course. Which I'd rather like to live in more is really tough. I love robotics. I would love to have cybernetic crap, because that's cool. But there's also this part of me that really likes the idea of magic and more, more of an unknown with the unknown stuff of the reality, like religion actually being, I don't want to say true, but verifiable.
Right.
That I find that fascinating, and that make me, I don't know. I kind of like that idea, and I'd be torn. I mean, I'd probably rather go with sci-fi because I'd rather be on Star Trek than Lord of the Rings.
Right.
But
no, I hear you.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to pick one to live, I would guess sci-fi because I like tech. And
yeah, exactly.
But
I put my faith in awesome robotics and lasers.
Well, listen, I dig giant robots, so
everyone digs giant robots.
Exactly. But looking at it also, and I'm sure you guys listening can comment on what your favorite genre is. I look at it like, because in science fiction, you don't have magic, but you have, if you're gonna, you could have something Force-esque. You could have psionic ability, which is kind of like your replacement.
Yeah.
For magic. You're not gonna straight up be casting fireballs or summoning the undead. Also, sci-fi usually encompasses one of my favorite things, which is the cyberpunk and transhumanism.
And I'm personally a big fan of that stuff myself.
So, that encompasses that. Now, if you throw in that gray area, sci-fantasy is basically having your cake and eat it too. And I think a lot of people will agree that 40K is definitely sci-fantasy for an example. I mean, you got demons, and you got tech. I mean, you can't get more sci-fantasy, just the typical stereotypes than that.
That's very true. They try to explain their demons, but it's still demons in space.
Yeah, I mean, you got the whole idea of cultism and religionism, and you have your orcs in space, your elves in space, your undead in space, stuff like that. And I would say a bit, now I don't know for a fact, but I would say on the flip side, Iron Kingdoms is kind of more fantasy sci. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very much, it's a fantasy world that they added more tech to, which is how, well, I guess the reason why most people call it a steampunk game, though I disagree in calling it steampunk, obviously, because I'm a nerd. But yeah, it's definitely more of it's like techie fantasy as opposed to magic-y science fiction. And I think this is still recording. I think the phone call just got fixed.
That was weird.
Yeah, it fully disconnected.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I guess we'll start. All right, Biz, you got some homework to do. But we'll start with. I'll re-say how Iron Kingdoms is fantasy sci, and we'll start from there.
Yeah, and then I'll try to answer that because I think that's where it cut out.
Yeah, pretty much is where last I heard. So basically, what I would say is Iron Kingdoms is more like, instead of sci-fantasy, it's fantasy sci in a sense.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It's very much more of a fantasy world that has technology added to it.
Yeah, and it's
kind of like it's kind of like the opposite of Star Wars, where Star Wars is more of like it's a sci-fi world, and then they shoved some magic into that.
Right. I mean, it's very much, and from what I know of Iron Kingdoms, I don't play stuff in that setting. It's tech-esque, a lot of it, a little bit, like and it's very much a steampunky setting and everything like that, and that's why we get the gray area. You can have your cake and eat it too, but I prefer sci-fi overall if I had to pick a mutually exclusive one myself.
Yeah, if you had to pick one or the other, I think I'd prefer most sci-fi, as long as I don't have some kind of alien thing burst out of my chest and I die meaninglessly.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that, or in fantasy, you die of a plague, one of the two. But
that's true, that's just as bad, or your soul gets sucked out of you by some evil necromancer, and then that sucks, I imagine.
Yeah, and you're trapped in a crystal.
Exactly. No one wants to trap in crystals.
No. Now, second question for everybody, because I feel like questioning things. I'll handle the interrogations around here.
Oh my god, it's like you're a dark angel or something.
Now...
Oh, did I lose you?
What community, what your community would you pick as your favorite type of, out of all the settings of fantasy? I don't mean like, do you want to feudal Japan versus feudal whatever. I mean, no. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it had some problem, but it came back, it looks like.
Look at that. So,
if you can't tell, we're having technical difficulties as usual.
Yeah, nothing goes smooth. It just never goes smooth.
Nope.
But what science fiction setting, in terms of almost like company, like if you had to pick the established stuff out there in novels and games and movies for fantasy, would you pick? Like you could pick from like Dragon Riders of Pern, the D&D series. You could pick from Lord of the Rings, Warhammer Fantasy, whatever. What would you pick as your top fantasy setting that you enjoy the most? And I guess what I would pick to start it off, it's close. My favorite setting is probably the Lord of the Rings setting.
Okay.
I like the way things are done there. It's like magic is there, but it's subtle and not subtle at the same time.
Yeah.
And after that, I'd honestly have to pick the brutal nature of the Warhammer Fantasy setting. Because it's brutal. So that's my pick.
It is. That's a really tough one, because I don't know. I really don't. I mean, Warhammer Fantasy definitely throws in there, because it's just a wonderful universe, you're right. You know what? The Magic the Gathering universe.
That is a great universe.
I love that crap. Dominaria and all the things about it, and Ravnica is one of my favorite things for fantasy of all time.
I really enjoy it. I feel Magic the Gathering as a setting is very strong. The one reason I don't pick it personally is it's too far flung, which is a great thing because it encompasses. We have Asian culture in there. We got pure artifacty stuff. AIs in there, and we got everything in between.
Yeah, so, technically, it's a universe that you can do whatever the heck you want in.
Exactly.
You can conceivably do a sci-fi in Magic the Gathering, technically.
We had the Weatherlight. I mean, it flew around.
I love the Weatherlight.
But...
sad nerdy thing. So, For some reason, people I know name their cars, and I named my car the Weatherlight.
Nice.
Totally did. I'm like, what's your name gonna be? I'm that nerdy.
Nice. My car is unnamed still. But
your car doesn't need a name, it's a badass. Mine's a Mazda 3, which looks like a little kitty.
It does have a little kitty smile on the front on the grill. They really do. I feel Magic the Gathering is being a fantasy setting. I mean, you could do a sci-fi-esque thing, but it's basically a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
I feel it's a fantasy setting, one of the few fantasy settings out there, and I'd say few by maybe there's a few others, like 2 others or so, that can do a cyberpunk style of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they proved that when they did Esper in what set was that? Shards of Alaria?
Right.
Shards of Alara, where they had that one group where it's like, we're going to magically enhance people and make artifact sentient beings. I'd say humans, but, you know, there's elves and stuff, too.
Yeah.
And I love that, because my favorite thing about cyberpunk is the concept of inhumanism, as in removing your humanity through modification.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's really horrifying to me, but really cool at the same time, because, like, I'd cut off my arm for an awesome prosthetic, but that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is kind of messed up. It questions the purity of the human body.
Yeah, and I think they did kind of capture that with the Esper group in Magic the Gathering. So yeah, you're right, they kind of cyberpunked it a little there.
Yeah, you can, and you also have the Phyrexians. You have.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the Phyrexians. They're kind of the best.
Yeah, like the whole Legacy of the Thran book was really good about that.
Yes, it was.
But you know, speaking with that, real quick before I get to the second question, which is, as you can guess, just the sci-fi version. Is, you know, getting to the whole cyberpunk thing, what I like about it is, like, as you said, it's got this very inhuman nature to its humanity. You know, it can make you better, faster, stronger type of thing. But I also like the fact that at its core, you know, cyberpunk is so often bleak and dismal and everything you read or play about, but at its core, for me personally, I find it's got, like, it's at its core is transcendence and transhumanism and kind of like a good message. It's just like, this is such a good thing, but it can go horribly, horribly wrong so quick if we're not careful.
Yeah, it's the thing with cyberpunk is, since it's a punk, they focus on the negative side a little bit. And the negatives are the loss of, you know, humanity and empathy and the mass production of everything, including the human being. I mean, if you're just your reality is just your thoughts, and that can be put anywhere, then a lot of things become meaningless in a weird way,
right? Which
is kind of cool. I mean, that's one of the things I like about it. But yeah, it's uplifting in the fact it's like, we can fix anything. You can do anything, quite literally.
Yeah, it's basically like the idea of a utopian society where you don't die from sickness or from being frail. In fact, you may not die at all. You can just transcend and become part of like this global cloud, basically.
Yeah. They do that, bring it into Wargame really quick. In Infinity, they talk about that, and I kind of like their way of doing it. Like, the more, you know, richer countries like the Pano, like, most people have cyber brains, and they're technically immortal, so when you die, you have to petition, though, to come back, because obviously there's a long legal process of being resurrected.
Right.
And it can take, like, up to 100 years, unless you're, like, I guess, someone important. Like, if you have political leanings or importance to society, they'll speed it up. But it's kind of funny. It's like, so he goes to 100 years of being, like, a thought being on the internet, and then embody again.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I like that. It's like, basically everyone's technically immortal if you have a cyber brain, unless it gets destroyed, which they have rules for in the game, and I love that.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just that concept. Now...
Yeah. Because they go into it, it's like, well, if everyone's technically immortal, how do you deal with that?
It's legal, you know. It's a lot of red tape.
Well, exactly. They brought bureaucracy into it, like any good country would.
Exactly. Now, my second question I'm posing to everybody and ourselves is sci-fi. What sci-fi setting or what sci-fi universe would be your favorite? Would you like that you really enjoy? And this I find to be a tough one.
Yeah, there's so many cool ones out there.
There's so many cool ones out there, and I also find that there's a lot of them have a lot of similarities, just like you would in fantasy, but I find the sci-fi similarities to be a bit more, well, similar. You know, giant starships, and what type of, do you like this way the tech is done or that way the tech is done? But
yeah,
if I had to pick, again, it's hard to narrow it down. My first pick would probably be the StarCraft universe.
That's a good universe.
I really like how it does, because you have your high-class sophistication of humans, as well as your low-class Wild West scum of humans. All are done well in there. You have crazy super tech aliens, and you have crazy biotech, basically, aliens. And the thing I like about it is, while humanity isn't the most technologically advanced, we're not left in the dust, which a lot of sci-fi settings do so easily.
It's true.
And it kind of bothers me like that. And the other one that I really do like, and it's a weird pick for me, that I would pick kind of second, is the idea of the Terminator universe, with Skynet and everything like that.
That's a depressing universe.
It is a depressing universe, but I like the idea of it being grounded on just one planet. It's just human beings trying to survive against technological extermination.
Fair enough.
And the concept of that I just find very interesting, and a very kind of a very cool setting, because you don't have to go. I find it to be a bit more precious in the fact that it's not, well, what do we do? We'll blow up this planet. There's 500 others. This is all we got, you know?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So those would be my picks if I had to pick top two.
Top two. Top one is probably definitely Star Trek. I grew up with it. I like the themes. It's basically, humans kind of suck in the sense that almost everything is stronger or faster or more durable than a human in that universe. But humans kind of, if you look at pretty much made the Federation, they brought all the races together in a weird way, and our great strength is our perseverance and adaptability and our ability to use technology. Like, we're just kind of awesome on that level. It's like, we can do anything is kind of what I always feel Star Trek says.
Right.
And I like the positive message, and Borg are scary, and I like Vulcans.
Both are cool. I like the Borg.
Yeah. For a second, it's a tough call. I'm looking at Dune right now, because it's sitting in front of me on my DVD shelf. It's one of my favorite universes, but I don't think I'd want to live there, because it kind of sucks. Same with, I really like Gundam.
That's a great.
I like classic, I mean, I don't like the classic show, but I like the classic storyline a lot. Like, my favorite is 8th MS Team.
Yeah.
Please tell us your favorite Gundam show. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you do. I mean, Gundam.
Actually, yeah.
I love Gundam. Gundam is such a big thing. There's a whole Gundam center in Japan, and there's a couple of rooms in this really big classy hotel that are Gundam-style rooms you can rent out. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah. But, I don't think I'd, again, want to spend any time in the Gundam universe universes, because they're all war-torn and messed up.
Yeah, basically.
It's a really tough one to think about. I'm trying to remember, like, all the sci-fi that I like, and that's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff. I mean, I would never want to live in a Terminator universe, but the concept I find very intriguing.
Yeah.
Like, I like living basically as a hunted animal doesn't sound very fun. So, I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, you know what? I know it. The best universe. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy universe. I love those books. They are great, and I could totally... It's so messed up and all over the place that it's just like it is in the real world.
I mean, good picks. I like Star Trek. Star Trek's a bit too sterile for me.
Fair enough. I can see that, definitely.
And Star Wars is...
fantasy.
It's sci-fantasy. I can't consciously pick it as a mutually exclusive sci-fi thing. Although if you look in I guess in a section, you're gonna find in the sci-fi section of places, obviously.
Yeah.
But
there's spaceships. It's sci-fi.
Yeah.
That's like the rule.
And Gundam, I really enjoy Gundam, but you know, I look at Gundam in a sense of how living in there, and I wouldn't be a pilot of anything. I'd be a Joe Schmo, so it wouldn't be any fun.
You'd be the dude at best in the military that has a gun, like a normal gun.
Yeah.
Like that kind of sucks.
But if I got the pilot,
I left out one universe I like, but I think it lines up really well in a weird sense with StarCraft. Besides the fact, by the way, StarCraft is cool, obviously. But I left out the Firefly universe.
Yeah, I left that one out too, just because.
I wouldn't mind living there, but that's really just like now with spaceships, which is the point.
Basically, it's basically now but in space. But it's a cool universe, and you definitely get a certain feel like that of that in StarCraft, or it gives a certain StarCraft vibe.
They have that both. They both have that kind of Western feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the question you brought up of favorite Gundam universe, that's a tough one for me.
I know. There's so many cool ones. I mean, my favorite show is 8th MS Team, so I like the original storyline a lot.
That's a good show.
But I think, I don't know, they're all cool.
But that was a good, 8 episodes or something like that?
It was, I think it's only 12.
Yeah,
I have
a good,
half right now. It was a half season because the writer-creator died during it,
right.
So we kind of had to wrap it up.
Yeah, well, let's wrap this up.
But I like that one because there were no aces. There wasn't some super awesome, I am the next level of human evolution kind of guy walking around, or have some kind of super tech thing in here. They were regular guys, and they had to deal with, regular guys and lady. Yeah. And they had to, they were the first set to get, Gundams on, the mass-produced level, and there's one ace in the show, and he's a bad guy, and he's awesome. It's one of the best fights in Gundam.
Yeah, well, that was a good fight, and it shows from just a generic mobile suit perspective. It's not the big Gundam itself perspective.
Yeah, it's very grounded. It's very real.
Yeah, that's a good feel. That one, when I watched that, to me personally, it reminds me a lot of BattleTech, and BattleTech is another great sci-fi universe I really enjoy.
Yeah, we didn't bring up BattleTech.
I mean, because I don't know, is it up there for me? Sure, but it's not close enough to StarCraft for me to kind of list it. I really enjoy BattleTech, the universe, but again, it's really war-torn. And it's not just because clans invade Innisphere. The Innisphere just likes to make war to itself. It's hard to find a planet that doesn't have a battle going on. So, it's kind of a little too hectic. But
it's kind of the reason I didn't pick Dune was that it's all political intrigue and warfare on the backside. So it's there's a lot of stuff just dying and meaninglessly. Either you're a nobody, because it's so feudal.
Yeah.
That either you're a high lord and someone's trying to stab you and poison you all the time, or you're a nobody and you're just trodden upon.
Exactly. If I had to pick places of which I would want to be part of the main, let's say, conflict, it would be BattleTech. Or not StarCraft, because you don't have a long life expectancy.
Not as a human. No, you don't.
But I had to pick BattleTech as my first choice, and then honestly I'd pick Star Trek after that if I'd be part of the conflict, because there's a good chance I could live, because we're going to try and negotiate or just get away.
Yeah. There's not a lot of, Starfleet, Starfleet doesn't really have an infantry. They got into that once in DS9.
Yeah, they did.
Where, fighting in your dress uniform is a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's one of the flaws of their universe. Federation's we're about exploring and traveling, and we have nothing to do when bad stuff happens. We got some cool guns, but there's no body armor or anything, where you're running around in that red and black uniform still, and someone's gonna shoot you.
Yeah, what was with that? The security teams didn't even have, a vest on or something.
They do in a couple of variants, in the first set of movies, the original series movies, security, they're wearing, body armor. It looks stupid, but they actually do wear it.
Right. But then, it's just gone in the shows, and it's kind of...
Yeah, well, they had no budget for it or something, apparently, but they really should have. It's I'm going to go into this hostile planet wearing spandex.
And this is real velour.
Real velour. Come, Leela. I mean, it's great. It's, that's one of my favorite kind of cheesy things about it, that, they never really protect themselves, ever.
Yeah, and the reason I picked BattleTech is probably one, if I had to be part of the conflict a bit, it's yeah, infantry grunt, which is the pulse of it, you're not having it well, but even there to an extent, I want to say it's fair, but, it's not as, I want to say, especially when you get to the mechs, which is kind of funny, because it's not as fatal. You can get fought off to the point where your mech is just downed and they just move off, or you can eject, or you can get away. I mean, unless you're one of those slow guys, in which case you just eject, and then who knows what happens after that. But you have, you're not consigned to a 9-second lifespan like you are as a Terra Marine.
My problem with StarCraft was that line, and then all the equipment that goes into making a Marine. That can't be cost effective.
Yeah. It makes you wonder. It does make you wonder.
Yeah.
Considering those guys are in powered armor, basically. But, I think that 9-second thing was for the actual game.
Yeah, it was. You know what was a good sci-fi world that no one ever talks about?
What?
Space Above and Beyond. I don't know if you ever saw that, but if you can find episodes of that, it was just Space Marines, as in modern day Marines in space.
Right.
And it was really well done. I think it was only one season, but it was beautiful for a show like that. And you can see bits of it, like if you watch Firefly, the spacesuits they have in Firefly with the armor bits on them.
Yeah.
Those are from Space Above and Beyond. Like, those are props from that show.
Right. And you notice we never mentioned the Alien series.
That's like my favorite series. I do not want to live there on any level.
Me either. But when you think about it, also, like, that is a very, very small slice of that place.
That's true.
Like, not every ship is getting infested. I mean,
yeah, it's incredibly rare. I mean, it happens like 4 times over 400 years in that storyline. It only happens the times we see it.
Exactly. But it's just I don't know. That was just weird, and it's interesting, but
there's a lot of political stuff in there. Like, if you read the Colonial Marine Technical Manual, which I happen to own, they do mention like more of the ins and outs of their military structure and stuff like that. And it's an interesting universe.
Oh yeah, it's got some interesting stuff to it. But to go back to your semi-question of favorite Gundam universe, I've been thinking this entire time, and
it's tough.
It's tough. Here's the thing: I haven't seen them all because there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of Gundam universes out there.
There's a ton of Gundam.
But original Gundam is, I don't want to say hard to watch. It's just you can tell it's an old cartoon.
It's very dated. I can't watch it, I'll be honest.
Like
I have no care for Amuro Ray or whatever his name is. I'm like, you're lame.
Yeah, I mean, Amuro is kind of annoying, but like,
though he's not as bad as Kira Yamato from Seed.
Yes, well, nobody.
He starts off okay, but he never grows.
Nothing is as bad as that guy. That guy is so annoying.
He's just, I don't want anyone to fight ever! And then he just whines and cries the entire series. It's okay for like the first 5 episodes, but after a while it's just, no, I don't care anymore, Kira.
Exactly. But, I've seen, before I've really sat down and watched a full series of Gundam, I've seen a bits and pieces here and there, but the first one I actually watched in earnest was Wing.
Yeah, I think that's true of me too. I think that's true of a lot of people we know.
So Wing holds a special place because of that, and I really like the way Wing was done.
Yeah.
Like, just the way it's told it, and having basically a team of them. It wasn't just, hey, we got one super thing. It's like, hey, one may get blown up, so here's 4 others. Type of thing. The idea of Gundanium alloys, whatever, but
I love Gundanium alloy. I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's I like that. So that one is up there for me. I really enjoy G Gundam a lot. It's a feel good series.
Yeah, when I first saw G Gundam, I got mad because I'm like, this is stupid, this tech doesn't make any sense, and then I got over and said, it's about the story, you idiot, and it's a fun story.
And the idea of having a suit on that kind of mimics you a little bit, it's cool, and what they took out of it to make it more dynamic is you're not sitting in a cradle.
Yeah.
Because normally you have to be in a cradle for something like that. But it's just cool. I like that whole, I control it.
And it was a really good show. I loved it. Wing is cool. G Gundam's cool. I really liked the 00.
Yeah, no, 00 is probably the one I would pick as one of my favorites.
00 is just great because it is Wing again.
Yeah.
Much like Seed is original Gundam again. Like, they're kind of a very similar concept and almost a retelling. Like,
Seed is straight up original Gundam again. You even got Zaku's in there.
It's true, and I love me some Zaku. Zaku's like my favorite mech ever.
It looks
just because they look great. They're terrible, but they look great.
It looks the part. Like, it looks to me in a pose. And the Zaku 2 is not that bad.
Yeah.
It's the Zaku 1 that you don't want to pilot. And then you have the Goof. And
I love the Goof except for the name.
Yeah, it's such a... When you look at it, I don't know how you're supposed to say that.
It's like Geof.
Yeah, it's like something a weird spelling of Jeff, but it's Goof. And then you have the Gelgoog. When you first look at it, you go, that's a stupid name. But I love the Gelgoog.
Yeah.
But no, I had to probably pick Gundam 00 as probably up there as my favorite universe of Gundam. Right up there with Wing, just because.
The only thing is you have to remember that every time you do anything, you have to say your full name.
You do. Yeah, he's not the Setsuna. He's Setsuna F-Sei. It was so annoying.
He loved his name.
Everybody else called him by just one name. He would have to say the entire thing.
Yeah, no one called him anything except for Setsuna.
Exactly.
And he was like, I am Setsuna F-Sei. Time to blow myself up. He was Hiro, what was Hiro's name? Hiro Yuri?
Hiro
Yui. He was him all over again, but even more crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy and with a longer name.
Yeah, a much longer name.
But I really like the fact that's the first one done in the AD.
Yeah, that was the first time they did one in, like, our timeline, and it was worth it, and it was cool.
Now, the second season was also cool. The movie got real crazy real quick.
I still haven't seen the movie, to be honest.
I'm not going to spoil anything, except for saying aliens.
What?
Yeah, they fight aliens. It gets a little...
Wow, I don't think... Have they ever fought aliens?
I don't think so. I think it's been implied in other ones.
Yeah,
like didn't Seed have like an alien fossil or something, or is that Destiny? Or
I think it might have been Destiny, and I couldn't get into Destiny. Destiny kind of sucked.
Destiny was a retelling of what Seed already did.
Yeah, like Gundam Seed was good. Gundam Seed Destiny was like, this is stupid. And I don't like your designs anymore.
Yeah, like their two big bad Gundams in Destiny were cool. Then Seed Destiny to me was, okay, let's basically redo Seed, but keeping what happened in Seed alive, and basically retell original Gundam yet again. And because you had everything from the original series basically back. You even had the Doms.
Yeah,
but I love
those
things
pointless. They're silly. They're silly.
They are.
We'll leave it at that.
They are silly, but I love them. But I don't know, like, it was just, the movie got real silly in 00, and I could definitely see how a lot of people get turned off from the series by it, but I look at them as two mutually exclusive things. I have to say, my favorite movie type thing that they did, or like, for Gundam, was Endless Waltz.
Yeah, Endless Waltz was kind of just the pinnacle of 90s giant robot.
It was. First off, you had the awesome looking,
Wing Zero custom.
Yes.
And Wing Zero custom and Death Scythe Hell custom with its crazy bat wings and perfect cloak were the best things ever.
Yes, and I love just Heavy Arms custom because it's like, listen, forget
I'm gonna put guns on your guns.
Forget the switchblade I had on one arm. I got a million more gun.
It's like you took you splice the engineer from TF2 into an orc.
Yes.
You know what's better than a choppa? Two choppas. What's better than two choppas? A choppa with a choppa on it.
Yeah.
With another choppa. But they replaced the word choppa with gun.
Yes.
Because it's the engineer from TF2. It's like, got a problem? Solve it with gun. That doesn't do it. Get more gun.
Basically.
And that was a giant robot made of guns. I don't think they had room for anything except for guns.
There were some missiles.
Right. I'm sorry. I just said projectiles.
But let's look at the evolution of Heavy Arms real quick, because we can. You have the basic Heavy Arms. It had the twin chest Gatling gun. It had some missile pods on it, and it had that one big Gatling gun with the shield.
Which was cool.
And the switchblade knife, which was the coolest thing, because it's the only real melee weapon except for Sandrock, so we don't count his. His could charge up.
Sandrock was, that could have been a really good Gundam. I love this design, but Katra Rababa Wiener was a loser.
Yes, he was. But his blades could get super hot and do stuff. Heavy Arms Switchblade wrist mount was just a big switchblade.
Yeah, there was a giant, I'm gonna stab you now. He shanked people when he ran out of ammo.
He did.
It was a cool idea.
That's why I liked it. I also liked it because the pilot, Troa Barton, is such an acrobat, and you got the big heavy support Gundam being the most acrobatic.
Yeah, which was great. I really liked that, because, like, when he ran out of options, like, we run out of ammo. I mean, he's completely ammo-based. If you run out, you're dead if you don't know what to do. And he's such a great acrobat, and he brings that into piloting it, that he can survive with no ammo with a gunship. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yes. And then they get into space, and they upgrade everybody, and him and Sandrock pretty much get nothing.
Sandrock is, like, destroyed by that point, practically.
So did Heavy Arms, but they were basically rebuilt. Sandrock got an Uzi in space, and Heavy Arms just got a second Gatling on his Gatling arm.
Yeah, he got a second Gatling and some thrusters so he
Yeah.
could move around, kind of.
Then an endless waltz happened, and he foregone his left-handed blade for another twin Gatling shield thing. And then his missile pod doors had missile pods in them.
Yes, they did. He had missiles on his chest, on his shoulders, in his legs.
Yeah, and then those doors that open up had missile pods in them. So,
Yeah, and the Gatlings. It was just covered in ammo.
I mean, it's such an absurd concept, but I love it for it. It's probably my favorite Gundam of that series, even though Wing Zero's really cool.
Wing Zero looks cool, but it's probably impractical. I mean, giant robotic feathers are kind of silly.
Yes, but I mean, and let's look at that real quick. Alright, so you have Wing, right?
Uh-huh.
01, whatever. It has that awesome Buster Cannon gun thing.
The Buster Cannon can shoot 3 times, and that's it.
And then when it comes to Wing Zero, it gets 2 of them that have unlimited shots.
Yeah, and precognition abilities, basically.
Yeah, I like the way Wing did it. Because it did it through an AI system. It wasn't the evolution of human being. It was, this is tech.
It makes you better, but it's gonna make you crazy.
Yes.
Unless you're Hiro Yui and you're already insane.
Or like Katra, he mastered it.
Did he? Oh, he did, yeah, and he won the fight at the end using it. Or not using it. No, he did. He won without using it, didn't he?
Right, but he did activate it. Remember when Wing Zero left and they were getting messed up and he typed in 0 into the console?
Yeah.
And found out that crazy lady is also using it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it wasn't for Katra, I mean, you have to give him one thing, is he was terrible with Sandrock, but then he built Wing Zero.
Yes. And Sandrock was a great Gundam platform, and I mean, how could he not win? He had that plus Posse of Dudes.
Posse of Dudes was awesome! I love Posse of Dudes. Those guys were the best.
They were.
I mean,
they had the best.
Katra had all the cool stuff. I mean, Sandrock aesthetically is like my favorite Gundam besides Death Scythe, because at the time I liked gothic stuff and bats are cool. But I mean, Sandrock was just, he was big and beefy. He's like, I can take it. I'm the most offensive. Whatever, bring it. And then he had a small legion of like freedom fighters who were awesome.
Exactly.
They had giant capes for their mobile suits.
How else are you gonna hide in the desert?
It's true.
But
where did they get all that material?
I don't know. He was rich, so.
It's true, he was very rich.
But I really liked the heavy arms design, and Sandrock was a good design.
Yeah.
Death Scythe I really enjoyed because I really enjoyed the assassinate stealth concept.
Yeah, I liked that when he first put him out, basically he was invisible to radar, and then when they made Death Scythe Hell in space, they said, full on invisibility, go!
Yeah, he was cool. He got that, plus like cool shield thing. I think he still had that arm wrist-mounted like mobile shank, basically.
Yeah, he had a beam shank.
He had a drill claw. Let's be serious. And then he went from having a scythe with one beam to having a double scythe.
Because one is never enough.
And it looked cool. And I always liked how he would always flash the eye lenses of the Gundam first when he decloaked.
Yeah, because he's all about the style.
Yeah, he was cool. My least favorite mech was Wu Fei's.
Shenlong?
Yeah, Shenlong, and then what was the Altron or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was Altron. It just, I get you on that. It was like, what do you do? I mean, it's cool. It's got a lot of random stuff, but what makes you special besides Extendo Arm?
That's the thing. It had too much random, especially when it became Altron. It had a Scorpion Tail Blaster.
Yeah, it did.
It's like, what?
Scorpion Tail Blaster, 2 Extendo Arms with flamethrowers and lasers in it, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely flamethrowers.
Definitely flamethrowers, and like a weird beam weapon, which was cool.
He had the spear staff thing, right?
Yeah, when it became double-sided, or maybe it was one, I don't remember.
It was like a double-sided trident at the end.
Yeah, but my question with this Extendo Arms is, what is its exact reach? Because it seems to go on for miles.
Its reach is plot-based.
Really, I mean, it could go. I'm like, where do you store all of that?
I'm not even sure. Yet that was a little silly, but Dragon Gundam and G Gundam worked just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It just worked better.
Yeah.
My favorite though, I really enjoyed Tall Geese.
Tall Geese was cool. I liked his headdress.
I liked also he had no neck, so he couldn't turn the head.
Yeah.
Which is something you don't really think about in a big giant robot, but it's like, oh wait, he can't turn his head.
Your sensory stub is important. I mean, but if you look at the other mobile suits, the only ones that really could were the Gundams anyways. Like, Leos couldn't turn their heads. It was just a face-forward camera.
I love the Leos. There's something about
Leos
a Leo.
Were pretty cool.
I don't know what it was about a Leo. It was basically a small Tall Geese.
Yeah, it was, because the Tallgeese was the original, and Leo was the mass-produced little thing of it, and it was a piece of crap, but at the same time, it was a piece of crap you were okay with.
Yeah, it was, like, reliable. It was that thing that it never broke down, it could take some hits.
There was a reason they were mass-used.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't mass-use a gun that's crap. Everyone uses the AK-47, worldwide. There's a reason for that,
Yeah. And then what I liked with Wing was it wasn't just like, okay, we got the Zaku and the Goof and you had a crazy Ares in Wing. Like, it was really different. And then you had the crab things for underwater.
You had Cancer, Pisces,
yes.
Leo, Taurus, which was a space one.
Aries,
Virgo,
and Virgo 2s.
Oh, Virgo 2s. Those are great.
Yeah.
And then Libra. They loved Libra's a giant ship, obviously, but they loved astrology in that show.
They did. And my other two, the thing I like about Wing is there's so many different non-Gundam things I liked. I mean, I liked the Gundams, but I liked Tallgeese, which is basically a Gundam. Epion, which is basically a Gundam, but he's really cool.
Epion was that was a monster.
It was just really cool. It's like, I don't have a gun, but my sword extends really long, so it's kind of like having a gun.
Yeah.
and
they have a whip.
Exactly. Deal. And then you have the Mercurius and the Viate.
That was probably one of the best parts of the show when they were making them and testing them out.
Yes.
And all that. I really enjoyed that.
I really liked having the idea of a dynamic duo mobile suit pair that could basically, one was super defensive, and when they worked together, it worked really well.
Yeah, which is why they kind of went split season, made the Virgo that was half and half and pretty mean.
I liked the original Virgo more than a Virgo 2 because it had a just big beam gun.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. But also, G Gundam had the crazy mobile suits. You had the, I forget which country it was, but basically a windmill Gundam.
It was Dutch.
Yes, it was a windmill.
It was the Netherlands, because they have windmills there, apparently.
Yes. And then you had...
There was a Gundam, like the Zeus Gundam, his chariot was pulled by horse robots that were piloted by horses.
Yes.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
You know what? That's awesome.
It's ridiculous, but that was cool. Then you had Burning Gundam, of course. Everybody enjoys Burning Gundams. You had the Master Gundam, which was kind of weird.
Master was cool. Well, the character was cool.
Yeah, he was. And
sorry.
Then you had the German guy.
I forgot his name, but it was Shadow Gundam, right?
Schwarzbruder.
Yeah, he was a German ninja.
Which was awesome.
That's scary to me. I'm just gonna say that.
It's just awesome because the German are efficient, and now he's a ninja.
He's an efficient ninja, and he kicked a lot of butt.
He did.
He was great.
They had a lot of crazy designs, and
they just went all over the place with the design.
Yeah.
I appreciate the American one. It's totally over the top.
Oh yeah, he's got 6 shooters, he's got a surfboard he rides, and he can make boxing gloves
out of his shoulder armor, and it was one of the coolest mini transformations ever. And I'm like, that's so perfect. It
was just great. My favorite part of G Gundam was when he has Shining Gundam, he fights the Turkish Gundam, and he has his beam saber out, and the Turkish Gundam has a gigantic curved blade. I think it's Turkish.
Yeah.
And it looks like just a regular blade. And it cuts the beam saber in half and makes the beam saber top portion fly into the ground next to the Gundam's head. Basically, it makes it fly away. Not next to the Gundam's head, it makes it fly away. And it's my favorite scene because you have Domon just goes, how did he do that?
It doesn't even make sense.
It was just great. It was kind of like he was so confused. It was just why I loved it.
Yeah, because that defies science.
It does.
In that show. That show defies science, but that part defies science more.
Now, if you want defying science, you look at Gundam 00 and you look at, what was it, Justice? 6 guns or whatever it was.
With the too many guns? Yeah.
It was like, I just charged up my gun to make a big gunshot. I think it was him. Although I liked Hallelujah / Hallelujah.
Oh, that was your favorite.
Yeah.
I remember
Cheerios
that.
was awesome as a Gundam.
He was great. I really liked all of them.
They were all great. That was the one series for me really where I liked all of them.
Yeah. And they did an interesting job where they had 2 serious shooty Gundams. Like you had, was it Virtue or I think it was Virtue.
Yeah, Virtue and then Justice, or
Virtue.
Justice and then Virtue. I forget because
whatever. They had the one with the way too many guns that was just heavy armored and guns, and then they had the sniper, and the sniper was great.
The sniper was great because it used the stupid ball thing.
I hate those things.
But
That's the only show I like that thing in.
It made sense. It helped
Yeah.
do things. It made sense in that series. What are those things
It was a
called?
portable AI that was able to stabilize his shooty.
What are those things called?
I think they're called Marus.
Are they? They're annoying.
Yeah, but they're circles. They just became annoying because of Seed, because there was too many of them.
Oh, it wasn't Maru the girl?
I thought her name. No, I don't remember.
Put it in the comments if you know. But they were really annoying if you know what we're talking about.
It's just they're annoying if there's more than one.
There was more than one in 00, but they were all used to help repair the Gundams or...
That's true. They had actual purposes.
Yes.
Instead of bouncing around being like, be happy, be happy. Shut up.
Exactly. Exactly. But, no, 00, all of them were great. And what I really liked is that it wasn't just... I liked how there were basically different factions, and each faction had their basic own generic mobile suit.
Yeah, and I like the flags a lot.
Flags are crazy.
And they got even crazier with, what's his name, that one guy that came, like, Mr. Kabuto or whatever, with his silly Mempo mask. He's like, I will be the greatest flag pilot ever. Give me a samurai flag.
Basically.
Because they couldn't make their own Gundams or whatever, and he was just funny.
He was funny. I also liked the idea of the light particles. I mean, it was weird, but I just liked the way they went with it.
Yeah. Overall, the show was just cool.
The one thing that was kind of just cheesy, but every Gundam has a cheesy aspect to it, aside from being gigantic robots, which is kind of cheesy, but cool.
Yeah, technically, physics speaking wise, giant robots don't really work, unfortunately.
Right, at least not in space.
On Earth. But yes. Well, everything works in space, because there's no rules.
Exactly. But when they first see it, and the guy zooms in with the binoculars, and it says Gundam on the thing's head, it's like, really, you're going to put the word Gundam on your Gundam?
Put Gundam on the Gundam, just so you know. We want you to know who we are. What's a Gundam? That's the dumbest word ever.
Exactly. But, well, Setsuna had... I forget. I wish I remember the names. It was...
Setsuna had O, didn't he? Or 0?
So he eventually got O or 00.
He got 00.
Those were separate,
Yeah, it's time to do the internet.
Yes, it is. I'm already doing that. I know you had Kyrios, which basically means God, and then you have Alleluia, Hallelujah, who piloted it.
Which was the best split personality ever.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, how can you not like that?
He was a great character, and it was kind of... I don't remember which one was the insane one.
I don't either. It's hard to tell.
I think Hallelujah was the insane part.
Then he had Neil Dylandi, Lyle Dylandi, whatever. He had Alleluia, Haptism.
Yeah.
Setsuna Fsei, Lock-on Stratos.
Who was great.
He was a sniper, obviously.
Yeah. The only problem I have with the show, and no, I'm not going to mention it because people should watch the show, so never mind.
Yeah, but
that's to do with season 2 and Lock-on.
Yeah. And then Tyria Air Day, which is a cool concept. Which is a cool concept for a character, what he was.
Yeah, he was cool. Or he was cool, but I remember when we were first watching, it's like, I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman.
Exactly.
Sure that's a guy, because it's supposed to be, but they're really playing it close to the chest on this one.
They really were. You had Exia, which is what Setsuna piloted.
Right. Exia was cool.
Dynamis was the sniper. Mm-hmm. Kyrios was the one that could transform from a plane. There's always a plane transforming into a Gundam.
Yeah, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It worked in that show.
Yeah. Yeah, Virtue, which was the
lots of guns, heavy armor. Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna go over this one because it's kind of important. And then you had the arms, the mobile weapons.
Yeah,
those are cool. And then the second season they get different Gundams, different names, but basically the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
You had I could have sworn Justice was one.
I think Justice is from Seed.
Isn't it?
Because it's Justice and Freedom. Yeah. Justice is... Yeah.
That's true.
There's Freedom Gundam and Justice Gundam, and then whatever they're called in Destiny, because they get upgrades, like Infinite Justice or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Infinite Justice and like something. Strike Freedom. Yeah. Infinite. It's like, really? That's the best you can do? Infinite Justice. But yeah, no. The names were cool. Virtue was just had a bazooka. I mean,
yeah.
But they were all cool. Those are the mechs, the Gundams. Excuse me, they're mechas. But it was just a cool concept. And then he had the different like factions that had their own like mobile suits, like the really squat looking one. You had like the flag looking one that wasn't a flag.
Yeah, the I don't even remember. It was cool though.
I don't either.
Someone's like an E.
Yeah. But yeah, we got off on a really long Gundam tangent.
Yeah, we did. Because Gundam is worth a long tangent.
It is. Like, if you don't enjoy Gundam, I'm sure you're probably going, "Why are you talking about Gundam?" And that's fine. But if you do, tell us what you enjoy, like your favorite Gundam stuff. Obviously.
Yeah, we obviously we like talking about Gundam, so go right ahead.
Yeah, and the vet's gonna be mad he missed this.
Yes, he is. He has. I know he has like Strike Freedom, like punching justice in his room.
Yeah, he has like the models he put together. He just really loved them also. The only model I have two. I have a Zaku, but Char's Zaku, and I have Talgi's one.
I have the RX-79 Easy 8 from 8th MS Team in 100th scale, and then an RX-79G, which is its predecessor, in 144 scale, because they don't make that in 100th or any larger.
Yeah.
Because obviously I like that show too much.
Yeah, I had a in order to do Talgis, because it was basically a Talgis 3 kit that can make Talgis 2, and Talgis 2 and Talgis 1 are pretty similar. I had to like repaint the crest on the helmet and paint certain parts white that would have been blue for Talgis 2, and I made Talgis 1.
Nice.
Because I like Talgis 2, but I just really am a fan of the original Talgis.
The original Talgis was just cool.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a Roman Legionnaire a little bit.
Yeah.
With like a hoplite shield and a bazooka, because bazookas deserve to be on giant robots.
Yeah, it's nothing a Roman Legionnaire wouldn't have carried if he didn't have it.
Exactly. I mean, they carried Pilums because that's what they had, but if they had bazookas, I'm sure they'd carry those too.
You know, Pilum, the ancient bazooka.
Totally.
Right. But yeah. And you fearless gamers that are listening to this, feel free to ask us questions to answer in these type of podcasts. This is the type of stuff that we're talking about, like, what's your favorite genre, sci-fi or fantasy? What do you enjoy about sci-fi? What do you enjoy about fantasy? What's your favorite color? You know, stuff like that. We'll answer it.
Just throw anything. This, I think, is going to be where we answer questions in general.
Yeah, and just ramble and rant. Who knows how long I've been going? Probably 2 months.
Yeah. What's funny is I was going to talk about League of Legends today. That didn't happen.
Wait, you play it now?
Yeah. It's bad. For everyone that knows me, I've been avoiding League of Legends for like 3 years now, and I started playing last week. I'm already level 10.
It's just a fun, quick way to like pass. If you have like a half an hour before you gotta go do something, you don't know what to do, you pop on League of Legends, you play it.
You should probably give yourself 45 minutes because I was late for work the other day because of that.
Well,
I blame Matt. I blame Matt and my cousin because I'm like, I got a half hour. We can do a quick game, and it's like, okay, 5v5 PvP.
So there's your problem. I don't do that.
And 40 minutes later, it's like, I'm gonna be late for work, and a negative minute ago. Can we finish this and die?
Like that's your problem right there. Is the PvP aspect.
Yeah. I really like. I'm not ready for the PvP, but I like the PvP part of the game a lot.
Like it's fun. I play it. I've done PvP. I've never done well, and I just do it against the computer. Just
the co-op. The co-op is fun and silly and enjoyable. I mean, you don't have to work too hard.
Yeah, but I've had fun with it, and it's got all the character concepts for most of the things you can pick as your champion are cool.
Yeah, they did a good job. Everyone's got at least 3 paragraphs of why they're there, and they're all pretty decent. They look cool. They have fun voices.
And it's completely free if you don't want to spend money on it.
Yep, I haven't yet.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. People do. Oh, they do. But you don't have to.
Yeah.
But it is fun. I'm surprised that you got into it.
Yeah, and it's really good, and I feel bad because I was trying to work on being good at chivalry, and that's not happening now.
You know, it is fun. They do a good job with it. Yeah. I avoid the PvP because
that PvP in any game can get kind of frustrating if you start losing a lot in a row.
Not even that. I don't mind that. It's the problem with these type of games are people. Yeah. Especially if you like people who get really competitive in it for no reason.
Yeah. Someone got mad at me for kill stealing. I'm like, I didn't kill steal. You weren't killing it because you were doing your job wrong. That's
the one thing. If you don't play League of Legends, if you do, I'm gonna say it here and now. No matter what you do, you're gonna run into people who complain about kill stealing, and I'm gonna say it right here. the objective of the game is to just kill the enemy champions and destroy the Nexus and win, basically.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as stealing it because it works towards our goal of killing them. And if you say, but I don't get as much gold or whatever, you still get assist level gold, and who cares? They're dead. They're not leveling up right now. We are. We're winning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're not leveling up, they're respawning. I will say I was playing support when I did that one, but it was because they had the opportunity to kill someone, and I did too, and I pulled off, and they didn't kill them. So the next time it happened, I killed the guy. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not letting that happen twice.
Exactly.
I'm killing.
I've had that happen many times, and like, I killed this, like, you know, a group on group fight. I kill one of them runs away, one of them stays with base, almost dead, but I hold off because that guy was trying to get a kill, and then we don't get the kill, and the guy runs away, and I hate that. It's like, if I just killed it, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
Exactly.
So you just gotta kill me, don't hold back.
Yeah. I've met a lot of nice people on it. Fortunately, I've not met too many people that are angry and annoying.
You won't really find them if you'll find them when you get
into competitive.
Competitive with the PvP, but you won't really find them in the co-op that much. Yeah. And if you do, you say, relax, this is the co-op.
Yeah.
But yes, that's your League of Legends rant for today, if you're curious.
And now we've definitely talked for about an hour.
Yeah,
most of that was Gundam.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Gundam and sci-fi and fantasy and cyberpunk and... Wow, it's just a full day.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess what we'll do now, Fearless Gamers, is spare your ears and stop talking. So...
Sounds like a plan.
Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode extravaganza of 2, because there's only 2 of us here of the Fearless.
Yep. Hopefully this recorded properly,
hopefully.
Which it looks like it did. Again, normally Matt the Vet does all of our recording because he understands this stuff. He went to school for it. I did not, so if this is wrong, it's my fault. And if it is wrong, you won't know, because it won't go up.
Right. Only what's right will go up, and I hope they keep that part in. It's right. It's not that it's hard. We're not using something you need to go to school for, but we just don't. Yeah. We're not familiar with the program.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm using this thing ever. I downloaded it 5 minutes before we started, because... Yeah.
Yeah, like they say in racing, you need seat time to get more comfortable and familiar with stuff. So this is the first time in the seat using that program. Well, I haven't used it yet. I have 0 time in the seat.
Yeah, well, frankly, as long as Matt's around, we don't have to, because he uses it, and it covers all of our butts.
Exactly.
But it looks like it works, so, yeah.
So yes, Fearless Gamers, we appreciate you sticking through this. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you have... Again, like I said, what is your... To recap the questions that I asked you specifically, and of course comment on what you want. What's your favorite genre, sci-fi or fantasy? Out of sci-fi and fantasy, what are your favorite settings in those particular genres? And, you know, your favorite Gundam show or Gundam or stuff like that. And do you play League of Legends? And how competitive are you? I guess we'll put in there as well.
Yeah. And then, obviously, if you have any other questions about anything, we'll try to answer.
It could be anything. It could be, what's your favorite car? Do you go swimming in the at Tobey Beach in the winter? If you know what Tobey Beach is, congratulations.
Why would you go swim at Tobey in the winter? People do that?
Apparently.
Oh my god.
Like, you could ask us things like that. Have we ever been Olympic divers? Of course not. But you could ask us anything. It doesn't have to, like, if you're wondering, does it have to be game-related? No. Not at all.
No. We don't care. We will answer anything.
It could be either for bratwurst or not worse, and we'll talk about it.
Real quick answer, bratwurst.
All right.
Don't need to ask that one anymore.
There you go. But anything, Fearless Gamers. This is the opportunity where we're just... This is basically like, if we were hanging out, we'd be talking about this stuff anyway.
Exactly.
And we're recording it for you. So it's like you're almost part of that hangout. It's like you're actually here.
Yeah. In time delay kind of sort of way.
And, you know, whatevers. Anyways, this has been the Wild Card, James.
And the Starklord.
And until next time, we will see you later.
Bye-bye now.
Peace.